New for 96. With your hosts, Kevin McCauley and Chris Nguyen.
You asked me to repeat myself.
You were bitching about the holidays, and you said, the holidays. I don't care for the holidays. Too much mirth.
There is too much mirth. I don't care for mirth. I don't get it. Anyways, yeah.
What do you think of wreaths? Wreaths.
Wreaths?
Yeah.
Like a wreath? I'm fine with a wreath if it's a non-holiday wreath, just a wreath because it looks nice.
But that's absurd.
No, why?
Obviously, I'm talking about holiday wreaths.
Okay, well that's dumb. I was talking about general wreaths, which I think take precedent over holiday wreaths.
What other wreaths are there?
I don't know. Wednesday wreaths? Only on Wednesdays now. Don't want to be that person. Keeping it up on Thursday.
Yes, don't display a white wreath after Labor Day.
Well, all right. Going a bit far here. Anyways. How are you?
Fine. Fine. It's fine.
It's fine. Welcome to another episode of
New for 96.
That's the right amount of not mirth. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, how's your week been?
Good.
Yeah?
Good. Pretty... Can't remember any of it.
Blitzed out of your mind as usual. That's what Xanax and alcohol will do.
That's what they tell me. And I have to relearn that lesson every day.
Yep. It's like 51st dates, except it's just Kevin on his sofa with his cats.
Yeah, that's a pretty good life.
Yeah.
It's a good life.
Did you do anything car related?
I got a flat tire yesterday on the 911. I fixed it. I told you in a much longer version, but I took the wheel off. I took it to Discount Tire, got it fixed. They patched it, which I guess is fine. I would have liked a new tire, but you know.
You sent like a photo, which apparently was an old photo, of your car basically sitting on the rim and then like the tread.
The tread was a separate donut of the carcass.
The tread circle.
The carcass,
was sitting by the wayside, and I thought like that had happened like on the way to like.
No, that happened like exactly a year ago.
Yeah,
it happened on like the December 22nd last year.
I was so concerned for that 1 second, but not concerned enough to follow up with "Are you okay?"
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah,
thank you. It's the almost thought that counts.
Yeah.
That happened last year, and. It was fine. It happened on 610, like on the highway.
Yeah.
But this was much more minor, and I got it fixed up.
Is that the worst thing that's ever happened to you on a highway? Like a tire blowout?
Yeah, I guess so.
Mine is a steering column snapping completely free on a 95 Saab 900. On 59.
Oh, that's how you know it's a 1995.
Yeah. If it'd been in 96.
And we'd be in luck.
Yeah. So that was interesting. I coasted to a stop without any incident. But that was weird, but probably normal.
Don't most Saab trips end with coasting to a stop?
Yep.
You've got that engine in front of the front wheels, so it gives you that inertia.
Yeah,
it's like a water bottle, like a Pinewood Derby car if you had it filled with water or something. So you get that water.
Know what you're talking about.
I don't either.
What in the world?
Anyway, what else do we have?
I had the Rennshifter put in the Carrera, and I mean I cannot emphasize this enough. The world of difference that this shifter makes, because the car was a stock 915 transmission, and just the word feel in general is you couldn't use that to describe a 915. Like, it's like, I remember reading an article, Car and Driver article from 1978 when the SC came out, and they were talking about the 915, and they said, this car is great, but the shifter, the transmission, could not be more vague. Like, it's like shifting into mashed potatoes, and that's pretty much what it is.
Yeah.
So it doesn't keep you on your toes, like, in that you have to, like, there's, when you're shifting in a modern car, you really don't have to think about it. Like, you know, the shifter just kind of falls into place where it needs to. Here, you have to deliberately, like, trace the path of the shifter, and otherwise you'll grind gears, or you'll grind gears anyways, even if you're in the right gear.
Yeah.
So anyways, yeah, so this is like the best modification. Like, I think this is the best modification I'll ever make to this car.
Yeah, I mean, you can't, it's like you feel it every time you do anything.
Feels actually tighter and better than the shifter that was in my Cayman. And because even that had just a slight bit of slack and slop to it, like just a slight bit. And this is amazing.
Yeah,
so,
that's great.
Yeah. They did other things too. Like, of course, like, I expected this, like, and I expect this every time I bring it in, that they will call and say, okay, the thing that you brought it in for is done. And we have found several other things. So they fixed the dome lights, which now work. And that is also kind of a revelation, because before I could see nothing in the car. And for some reason, that car is like a black hole at night. Like, it reflects nothing. So when you get in, it's just pitch black.
But it's got all that glass.
I know. That's the weird part. But now I can see at night. When I shut or open the door, when I shut it, it's pitch black again. So, and yeah, they did. When they installed the shifter, though, I wanted them to put the rubber boot back on. Or no, I'm sorry, to install a rubber boot, like a factory rubber boot, the accordion, because I like the way that looks. I think it looks like nice and like very purposeful, versus the like leather bag. And mine came with like this really tall leather bag, and it looked like,
and it's like tan, right?
And it's tan because the interior is tan. And so it was color matched. I don't know if it was original to the car. When I look at like catalog photos or old photos of the interior, some of them had like the rubber boot. Some of them had like a halfway bag, like it would just go up leather bag. There's no other way to put it. Like, it's not a boot. It's a flesh bag. And
all right, that's enough. This is a family,
maybe. And then they're the ones that go almost all the way up to the knob. And I don't understand why you have this, like, anyone would have such a chip on their shoulder about seeing like a little bit of metal, like the stalk, that they would have to awkwardly cover unnaturally, like from the floorboard to like this foot tall like shifter.
It was the style of the time.
It looks, no, it's not. The forums, when I search like how to remove the bag, all I find are how to install the bags. And so the old shifter that I had, that came with the car, was this Momo. I think it was like some sort of ergonomic one, but it was, it looked like an upside down boot. So in combination with this like fleshy bag and this boot, like it looked like an upside down like doll's leg. It was very disturbing. So anyways, so they installed the leather bag back on, but they installed it on top of a rubber boot, like that comes with the Rennshiftin shifter. The only thing is that rubber boot doesn't cover the mechanism, and so you have rubber sitting on top of like the metal thing. So I want the factory one will actually cover that mechanism too. And so, but the problem is, like, it is so stuffed looking, like it's like inflated. It doesn't look, it doesn't have like ruffle to it. It's just like this inflated leather bag.
So you said it feels different from mine.
It does. Yeah.
Notchier, maybe? Or
I think it's notchier. It's probably because brand new bushings, like, and everything is just, it's just new. So it's a little bit stiffer. I mean, it slots in really nicely. But yeah, there's a not it's not even effort. Like it's not a bad thing. It just feels different from yours, which you've had yours for like 2 years now. 2 years?
Almost 2 years.
Yeah.
January of 17.
Okay. Yeah. So yours is broken in. So I'm looking forward to seeing like how it kind of breaks in over time. But
Yeah.
as it is right now, I mean, just being able to, there's still some like hesitation between gears, and that's just the 915. But like it is a 98% like improvement.
Yeah. So as your last hurrah with the 915, you got to really drive it last weekend. We went out to
Conroe.
Sam Houston National Forest
Oh yeah.
with our friend Nate
Yeah.
and our other friend Matt.
Yeah.
And that was a lot of fun, right?
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. Yeah, Nate had out his 964 RWB, actual RWB, and Matt had, what Jaguar was it?
It was an XK140.
Okay. It is apparently the top concours car in America, that particular one, for that particular model.
Yeah, it had like the Le Mans engine from the C-Type.
Yeah, that was really cool.
Yeah, it was cool.
Like when he mentioned that he was, so when we'd gone up there, he showed up to the meeting place, just like in his work truck, and then we went to Nate's storage, and I would, in my head, I did not think that's what he was about to, like, because it was under a sheet, and I don't know what I thought that he was going to like unveil, basically.
Well,
but
Nate had sent us a picture in our group chat of the car, but I didn't look closely, and I just thought it was. I kind of, I thought it was like driver quality. I didn't realize it's like full like concours.
Oh, it is pristine. He's been like restoring this car, and
his dad has owned it since like 79 or something.
Yeah,
78.
Yeah, but it is. I mean, that's not typically a type of car that I pay attention to, but like I just could not stop looking at it because everything, all the little details, like it was so pristine. And it was also just really neat seeing how like you operate a car that old too. Like with like just thinking that you have to like activate the choke as you're starting the car, and this one apparently he has a retrofitted system in there, so it's like it's automatic, but otherwise there's something. He was explaining it to me. I wasn't quite sure, but did you see the vents when he was revealing the like fresh air vents?
Yeah.
That are on the side of the cars.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's so cool. You kick this thing and these side vents pop open so that you get airflow, because I don't think it has an HVAC otherwise.
Right. Yeah. The FJ40 has that too.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, it's cool. Yeah, the driver is very exposed, and it's like leather wrapped like around the tops of the doors and everything. So you just like sort of rest over the side. It's so cool. It's so cool.
Like driving in front of him, like and looking in my rearview mirror and seeing that car, it looks so different from everything else that like it almost looks like you're looking into like the past, because it's just so jarring to see that. And he said that he's getting up there, like, because we hit slightly above speed limit speeds on that road, and he said that he also had hit like pretty high numbers.
My speedometer goes to 85, so
okay, we may or may not have gone faster than that.
Okay. News to me.
Yes. But he said that he was hitting those too. I mean, he was a bit further back behind, but can you imagine going in that car with just lap belts?
Did he have lap belts? I thought he had no belts.
Oh, no, he had no belts. That's
and
right.
4 drum brakes.
And 4 drum brakes. He had to downshift
and
to brake.
Super skinny bias ply tires.
Yeah. So kudos to him for being able to like manage that car, and also just to restore and maintain that car
and
like
to
that.
drive it. Yeah, like use it and take it out and everything.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a beautiful day for it. What did you think of driving quickly? Or driving, I mean, because you just generally drive just around Montrose.
Yeah, and I have not pushed the car yet. And so my car, it was it behaved a lot more solidly than I thought it would at high speeds, and I hadn't really given it the beans yet either. So this was the first time.
Yeah.
It was just ready. Like it was just fine. Like it felt like a normal car. I mean, it was a little bit louder than I thought it was going to be, but that's about it. So, and I have a Steve Wong chip in there, and the acceleration is brisk. It's not like I don't think it. So the Steve Wong chip is supposed to help with like low end torque. So it kind of fills in that band a little bit, and you do feel it versus like a stock chip. But anyways, yeah, no, it was great. Like it handled well. Like I look forward to taking it on a rally. The Hill Country is coming up soon in March, so I'm curious to see like what it can do like in a situation like that.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I want to go back up to those roads and up there. It was so nice. It was really pretty, and yeah, I would have liked to go further maybe. Because we turned around at that ice house.
We did, yeah. Because it goes, like, when you're there, so there's Houston proper, which is, the urban dense metropolis. I'm now that...
Metropolis?
Metropolis. I couldn't... anyways.
We were about an hour north of that.
We're an hour and 10 minutes.
Oh, was it?
According to Google.
Okay.
And so that's like countryside.
We were like 50 minutes from Nate's.
Yeah. Oh, were we?
Well, 50 from Morningstar when we left.
Oh,
it was 50 minutes to Nate's house.
Okay, yeah. Anyways, yeah, so that's, I mean, it's technically the countryside.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's by Lake Conroe. It's like, they're just like long, windy roads that you do not see in
and they were
Houston proper.
It was really nice paving, and it was like nice runoffs. Like there was really large shoulders and everything. Like California has some amazing roads, but a lot of them are pretty much right end at the road. You know, like there's no room for margin of error or anything. So it was cool. It was definitely fun to drive and to try to keep up with
I'd
Nate.
never been up there.
Trying to keep up with Nate's 964.
Yeah.
And he knows the roads, and he's quick, and the car
knows the roads, and the car is insanely wide. Like, the grip on that must be very nice.
It's cool that you can drive those. Like, I know there's a lot of critics of RWBs, but you can drive them and thrash. Like, they look like they would just bottom out and scrape and be terrible, but they are set up that it doesn't, it just works.
It's a really, like, it is set up very nicely.
Yeah.
And it sounds good too. Like, it was very helpful because I could tell we were coming up to like a slow speed turn because I would hear him like upshift or downshift.
Are you sure that wasn't me?
I don't know, but I was surrounded. But wait, were you in front of me or you? No, you were behind me for a little while or for the first part of the run.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyways, that was a lot of fun. We definitely need to go explore our good roads because we have so few. Yeah. At least within arm's reach.
If Daniel comes down, we'll have to go up there.
Yeah.
With the 7 Series.
With the 7 Series,
that'd be cool.
His Shorty 40. That would be really cool. I'd love to see that like tossed around. Anyways, so that was fun.
Yeah.
I'm glad you convinced me to go up.
Abandon your responsibilities.
Abandon my responsibilities. I had things to do.
Yeah, this was more fun.
But yeah, went up and I'm having fun kind of discovering like this car because this is my first 911 and it being an old car. This is my first kind of like truly old car too. So it is interesting figuring out the dynamics or just getting a sense of them.
Yeah.
So, because I'm in the back of my head, I'll admit to being like a bad habit driver and thinking when I'm in a modern car that the electronics will save me if I just get a little out of hand. And it's really different in this car because like I have like roads around in and around Houston where I'll take like kind of fast corners, and like I'm very conscious of my speed now because like there's nothing there to catch me if like I start plowing for some reason, and sometimes the front end feels like light, and I'm not quite sure if I'm losing grip or if this is just a characteristic of how this car drives, but I've been keeping it tame otherwise.
Well, like on the faster stuff, like I don't know if you noticed, the characteristic that kind of always weighs on me is like when the steering gets really heavy to turn. Like if you're turning, if you're going into a corner quickly, or if you're turning quickly, when the steering gets really heavy because there's no power steering, I always think it's like about to lose grip, and I don't think that's the case. Yeah, but it's like when you're it just feels like you're pushing it, but it's just sort of the nature of it. Yeah, it's hard to psychologically get past that because any other car I've ever driven, like when you can turn more, and the assist is there to like help and make it not seem like you're pushing. So it just feels like you're like at the limit of adhesion of the tires when you're obviously not, but in your head, it's all in your head.
Yeah. I'd love to. I am now convinced that I'd love to do like an autocross or something, just to kind of also like really find out what the limits of the car are. But something for another day. Yeah. Anyways,
I think I have a couple topics.
Oh my god. I saw our new for 96 Mazda Millennia brochure on Jalopnik. In that really cool article, which I haven't gotten a chance to read yet. It is a long form piece.
Yeah, and it was great.
I look forward to reading it. It looks really interesting.
Yeah, Raph wrote a large piece about the Amati Mazda, the Amati luxury spin-off from Mazda, which never happened. Yeah, and I never knew there were so many things. We're not going to summarize it, but definitely check it out. There was many things that I never knew it was so concrete. Yeah, I thought it was just like whispered and rumored, and he was able to dig up real things, real announcements, real articles, and real interviews with people that were there.
That's cool,
and it's really cool.
This is now like the definitive like piece, like the definitive like Amati like
it really is because it's been so
its history.
Like it's like Mazda. It sounds like Mazda has so much shame that it didn't work, that like in Japan it's still a sore subject. Like that's you won't find anything about this in the museum or anything.
That's so weird. Yeah. You think just because like this was their attempt at competing with Lexus, and I guess potentially Acura as well, and they couldn't do it, and so this has just been shuffled as the shameful son that is
I mean it was too late. They probably didn't they did invest a lot, and actually one of the guys that worked on it, like he went to Acura, took all these ideas and took all of these thought processes and everything and applied them at Acura. Like it was sound logic, but it was kind of the way that the falling in and sort of their stock crash. Yeah. This was a little bit, the timing wasn't good, and the amount of investment it took was not really going to be there probably. But Mazda was on a huge upward wave. Yeah. And Miata was such a huge success. Yeah. If they had tried to do it, 3 years earlier, it might have pulled off. Yeah. But I think Acura and Lexus were early enough before the crash that it was like, well, we're in it now. Yeah. Whereas Mazda, it was like they were planning it, and then that happened, and then they were
get
screwed.
Off the ground.
Yeah. But Raph points out how Mazda had so many brands like Mazda, Ifini, Unos, AutoZam, like all these different things that were like sub tiers, and it was just interesting. Like it wasn't that much of a stretch. And then in Europe, they had Zetos.
Yeah.
So it's pretty wild.
Don't blame me. I voted for Zetos. That is really cool. I'll have to read that this weekend. Anyways.
Hey, what did you think of the Lincoln Continental coach doors?
I like the idea. The execution is, I I mean, it's a small run, so I guess I don't know. It's not as refined as I feel like it should be for what it is.
Do you mean just like how the doors are?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like it didn't seem like 100% like fleshed out idea. I was just kind of like, well, we gave you what you wanted. Happy?
They should have done this in 2015.
I know. They really should have.
It's crazy. But everyone bitches about the B pillar, and I'm like, the Rolls-Royce has a B pillar. Like, it's 2018. You're gonna have to have a B pillar.
It's just the way that they managed that B pillar. It's basically like they kept the B pillar from the regular door car, and then they just attached the hinges on the other side, which means that you see like all the stamping like shapes and everything. Yeah, like they could have chromed it, or I don't know, did something to, because if it's gonna be exposed like that, like it should be a design element and not just like a structural member that you can see.
That's a good point.
But otherwise, yeah, like it's too bad they're only making 80 of them, because this could potentially save the model if they.
Well, they are gonna do more. It's not gonna be limited in 2020. They're gonna do it. So I don't know. This is built by like another company, or it's gonna be done by another company.
Yeah.
One could assume ASC.
Yeah.
Or the modern equivalent of AFC, American Sunroof Company.
Yep.
Yeah, so for 2020, they're going to do like an unlimited amount.
Okay.
And I don't know if that means that they're taking it in-house, or if it's just it's not going to be as much of a cash grab. I don't know. I think they should do this with all of the models, all of their crossovers, that people actually seem to want their crossovers. They could do this. It give them a market differentiation.
Yeah, I
which
agree.
they sorely need.
They do. Although, like, I hear that like the new Navigator is a hit.
I mean it looks
nice.
The Continental and the Navigator have really good interiors.
Yeah,
they do. They really like. It looks like they spared no expense. Like it's very ornate. It's very nice.
I didn't know that they either still have or have brought back the Aviator.
Well, they just announced the Aviator at LA.
Yeah.
Like a month ago, they announced the Aviator, and it's going to be like a smaller Navigator, kind of. It's got more aggressive styling.
They had an Aviator.
Yeah, in the early 2000s. Where
the
it was
Explorer-based one.
Yes.
Yeah, which was less than nice. But then all of them were kind of less than nice at that time.
Yeah,
So, like, these are genuinely, like, luxury SUVs.
I remember the first Navigator. I remember reading somewhere that, like, they made, like, $15,000 plus profit on each one. Because
it's just an Expedition.
Yeah.
My best friend's mom got one in high school, and I was really fascinated by the proposition. Just like it looks exactly, because this was also at that time it was the I forget what years it was, but the Escalade had just come out, and it was the first one was just barely a change. It just had more wood.
I've seen a couple of those first gen Escalades, like where it just looks like the GMC.
Yeah,
just says Escalade.
It's just
on the
rebadged. I mean, maybe they saw what Lexus did with the LX. Who was first? I know it is. Lexus was first with the LX. I think 470.
Okay.
Wait, I thought the LX was a reaction to another car, but now I can't remember.
The SLX.
No, the SLX was a reaction to the LX. I
think.
Well,
those were before, because I think the Escalade wasn't until like 97 or 8.
You're right, I think, because the 95 was the first LX 450.
Okay, that's way before.
I think I could be wrong on that, and maybe they all came out at about the same time, but no one liked the LX. I mean, it was a nice badge. I actually think it looked better than, at the time I thought it looked better than the Land Cruiser, at least the fascia. I mean, that's the only thing that was different. And the Navigator was always it always looked weird, that first gen one. It had this really small Lincoln face attached to this massive body.
Yeah, I thought the front looked okay. I think the rear looked terrible.
Oh, yeah.
It had those weird family truckster taillights.
And I remember the one thing I remember about the interior of that car was that it was so wide. Mm-hmm. The center console, where you rest your elbow, the lid looked like a toilet seat. It was so wide. It was as big as a toilet seat.
I'm sure.
And nowhere an industrial designer thought, well, this looks like a toilet seat. But it did. So
That's amazing.
yeah. But speaking of which, like we had a discussion about SUVs and what makes an SUV an SUV.
Oh my God, this is in my notes.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what makes an SUV an SUV? Because nowadays, like most cars that are categorized as such are cars, really, because there are these unibody tall wagons versus like body on frame, like ready to go off roading type vehicles. And I had my thought was, so we were arguing about the Range Rover and how I think of it less as an SUV. I don't think it's a truck. Like it uses like we couldn't figure out exactly what substantiated a vehicle as a sport utility vehicle.
No, I think we
were getting at it.
But we just have different definitions.
I guess
I'm not
so.
as strict as you.
I think,
But
like,
I mean, I think
yeah.
the Range Rover, the current Range Rover is still is an SUV.
Okay, so for me, an SUV is like the Jimny. Like it is truck based, or it's not truck based actually. It's like this body on frame. Basic, like it was a utilitarian first design, and then like add whatever niceties you want on top of that. But like it makes it a very naturally capable vehicle.
So if something's too nice, it can't be an
No,
SUV.
you can make it as nice as you want, but I think that it should have a utilitarian base to it, meaning like the old Lincoln Navigator was an SUV. It was a truck-based like
It still is.
vehicle. Is it the
I
new?
think so. Yeah, I think so. I think.
But is the new Expedition is that a unibody construction?
No, I don't believe so.
Okay, so that might be. I would consider that an SUV. Like if it has like a utilitarian base, meaning that it wasn't designed comfort first, like, and then then add whatever comforts you want on top of that, and that's fine. Like the old G-Wagon, I consider to be like a true SUV. The new one, I'm not quite sure, like because that was designed. It was specifically redesigned as a comfort first exercise, so. At that point, when you're designing it to not be a truck, as untruck-like as possible, like I think you start losing that title.
I feel like the new one is almost like the retro Thunderbird.
It is. It's like
the
a
retro
caricature.
Thunderbird.
It's a cartoon.
It's like,
itself.
we're gonna make a cartoon
I know.
G-Wagon.
They should have just kept it the same. Like people would have still kept buying it. Like it didn't need to be more comfortable. People didn't care about that.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not. I guess it was safety standards. I'm not sure.
I don't know.
That maybe would have eventually done it in, but I don't. So yeah, I don't know that I consider the Range Rover as off-road capable as it is. I feel like that's just something that was added on top as opposed to like part of the foundation of the car.
But so what about? Okay, so what about the 2002 Range Rover? Was that unibody?
No, I think that was body on frame. Oh, I could be very wrong on that.
Because I would say
I don't know a lot
was
about
body
that.
or if that's body on frame, I would say that was designed comfort first.
I go back to and I don't know if I consider that like an SUV either. Like the generation before, I think I would consider more SUV to be more of an SUV, and I think that was probably designed comfort first. But I think it I don't know if it was designed comfort first. I'll take that back because I wonder if they designed that because they used those like in places. Like that was when I think that was still of the era where you people use these as trucks out in like the desert, much like they did like the G-Wagon, etc. And I don't think that would be the case with the gen before, or I'm sorry, like the 2002 gen. So I don't know. So I'm gonna stake my claim on that. That's my definition of an SUV. Is that if it is utilitarian first and then comfort second.
Okay.
So, and if it's well engineered, you couldn't tell either way. Like I'm sure. Actually, I've never driven that first gen, or I'm sorry, that'd be second gen Range Rover, and I really like that generation.
So like you're talking like 94 to 01?
Yeah, I think it was a 94 to 01.
Okay.
That's my favorite generation of Range Rover. And it's so plain looking too, but it's just perfect. It's so like, it's just exactly what it needs to be. And I would love to own one if like it wasn't such a risky proposition. But then again, we know Land Rover owners who have had nothing but good things to say.
That's
Just
true.
kidding. Hi, Daniel.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think if you look at things now, based on your definition, there's not any SUVs in the American market. So that's news to some people. You cannot buy an SUV now.
Except for Jeeps.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Wrangler is. It's. Yeah, the Wrangler. What else in their lineup? Not the Grand Cherokee. Not the.
Nothing else is truck based.
Yeah, nothing else is truck based. Yeah.
Or not even truck based, but body on frame. The Wrangler's not based on a truck.
Yeah.
It's body on frame.
And that's the thing is that man, what else is there? The Durango? No. Like, what is based off of a? Oh, maybe the not the Sienna, not the minivan. The Sequoia? No,
Sequoia.
the Sequoia.
Yeah.
That's an SUV.
I guess so.
It was designed as the Tundra first, and then the Tundra is utilitarian based. I would imagine. I actually don't know a lot about like the background. I mean, maybe it was comfort first, but it seems like utilitarian based, and then they just added like a hard top to make it like. I saw, and I don't know. I'm gonna like say this like very unsubstantiated. Okay, am I boring you?
Yes.
Amazing.
Yes.
It might have been a Jalopnik like listicle of like the worst cars they tested in 2018, and the banner photo was Sequoia. So,
I did see that.
Yeah. So maybe when you make something utilitarian based, it isn't always for the best. But yeah. So the last crew SUV is the Jimny, which is very cool. Look how like utilitarian based it is. That it's rejecting its own technology. Did you read that article?
No.
Or see that article about how the lane keep feature or something like that was acting up because it wasn't designed for U.S. roads. It was just over here for the Car of the Year or Car of the World World Car Award.
Was Steve telling you about how he drove that one?
Yeah, I only saw that he had tweeted about it. But yeah. But that's so cool they brought it over here. But apparently the like American guardrails confuse the car's some part of the automatic like safety features, and so it kept trying to like jerk into the opposite lane, thinking that there was a car sidling up next to it. But you see, it's so utilitarian that it doesn't want technology to save it. It doesn't want comfort to save it.
Yes.
But they should bring that car over here, or that truck over here. Anyways, how many times can I say anyways? It's one of those things, when people try to stop saying anyways, I'm like, that's my like, I'm afraid of silence, so I will say anyway. Is it anyway or anyways?
You're the expert.
I don't know. It's an automatic like response.
Yeah. I've noticed.
See, I'm trying to hold back from saying
anyways.
Yeah. See, that would have filled up the air.
It would have.
It would have been amazing.
It would have been a lot better than what we had. Whatever this is.
Yeah, whatever this is.
So I was in Canada last week driving that CX-5.
Oh yeah, the Tundra. Is that the Tundra technically?
No.
No? Arctic Tundra?
I mean, I think that's further north. We were near Vancouver. And it was a good car. The CX-5 is good. Now it has CarPlay and the turbocharged engine from the CX-9.
Oh yeah. That's a good, honestly, like if I have to recommend like a brand new like appliance car of any kind, I would just recommend Mazdas all day long.
Yeah.
Like they have something basically in every segment, and you know, as far as reliability goes, I'm not quite sure that they're at the top of the game, but like as far as like enjoyment of ownership, like other than like that a Toyota would still probably take you a bit further in ownership length, you should get a Mazda.
Yeah, I mean, how many people are buying to own for like 7 years new? Like buying a new car to own for like 7 years. I feel like it's a really small demographic. I'm not excusing anything, but it just seems like everything is either made to lease or
yeah. I always think of used car. Like I've only ever bought one brand new car. And
what was that car?
It was the Mazda. It was a Mazda.
Oh, okay.
It was the Protege 5.
I thought you were going to say it was the Prius.
No. I bought that, I think it was a year old or something. And because they were really hard to find at the time that I was looking for them, and used ones were almost brand new, or brand new pricing.
Yeah, I know exactly, because that time, so I was living in New York, but that was like during when gas prices were really high. And because my sister bought a Honda Fit, and she had to buy a used one. Yeah. And it was like almost the same price as a new one. It's the same situation. Like any kind of fuel efficient car was.
Oh my god!
Like,
do you remember like the Geo Metro was like going for like $20,000 or something like that?
What?
Yeah, because it gets like 50 miles per gallon. It's a 3-cylinder.
Yeah, I know. I'm aware of that.
Okay.
I was not aware of them being going for $20,000.
There's one at the Papa John's around the corner.
I see it all the time.
It has like graphics.
Yeah.
Like little Seinfeld or whatever, those squiggly graphics that are now like ubiquitous for like 90s satire wear. But at the time, like I think I paid less than new car pricing at the I don't remember how much I paid for it, but but used cars though, like I would still recommend like a used Mazda. Although it depends. Like I've only ever recommended. I'm trying to think who's ever bought a Mazda based on my recommendation. It would have been my friend Jesse who bought a Miata. And he wasn't interested in cars at the time, and then steadily gained interest, and then he didn't really take care of it, and it blew a head gasket. And he kept driving, and he. Basically toasted.
Wait, how does one blow a head gasket from not taking care of something?
I think that it was leaking, and he just like I don't think he ever maintained that car. Like, poor Jesse. Like when it like finally did blow up, he was just like so sad. Like, I think in that like I think he felt like he should have known better. Like when all the symptoms were showing up, that he should have addressed them, but. And then he ended up buying a GLI, a Volkswagen GLI. I have opinions about that too, in that you should just buy a GTI.
Yeah, that's true.
But anyways, I did it again. But used Mazdas. You recommended a used Mazda to someone, and he regretted it highly. Steven.
That's not true. You know that you're smirking because you know that you're making this up. I did not recommend.
He bought a Mazda Speed 3.
Right.
And he absolutely hated the ownership experience.
Yeah.
It was very unreliable.
Here's what happened.
Yes.
Steven, I showed him how to drive manual on a 500 Abarth.
Yeah.
And I think he looked and was like, oh, that car, that had only 170 horsepower. I can get this car with 270 horsepower.
Yeah.
And that idiot Kevin's going to, he's wrong. And I look at this deal I'm getting. This is so much better.
I get blamed for our friend Dane buying a Mercury Capri XR2 Turbo.
Yeah.
Because I didn't actually recommend it. I sent it to him as a joke. And
you sent him the listing. And said, you should buy this.
LOL. Yeah, and I was like, haha, cute car. And then he was like, should I buy this? And I was like, I don't know. I think let me think about that. And then before I could advise him further, he was like, okay, well, I'm buying it. And then he bought it, and then it withered away.
You are directly responsible. This is nothing like the Mazda Speed 3 thing.
Hardly.
Oh, God.
You shouldn't have taught Steven how to drive a stick, and he would not have wasted however long it is that he owned that car.
He's driving Infinities now, so he'll never have to learn it. So he never has to know again.
I know. They don't make a manual.
No.
I don't think the Q60.
I don't think the Q60 does.
Yeah.
Although I feel like they still sell the old G37 in some form.
I think they probably
called
do.
Something else,
yeah.
called like the Q59.
What if it's like one of those like zombie cars? Like it's like a Chinese brand, and they just like buy the old machinery and then like keep making it.
Or like South Africa, like how in like South Africa you can buy like a Mark II Golf.
Oh yeah.
Or Brazil,
it's branded
Brazil and stuff. No, but this will be called Volkswagen
it's still
Golf.
Volkswagen. Yeah,
it's like
actually,
the classic.
In Mexico, they have them in Mexico because I'll see them here.
You talking about the Jetta?
The Jetta, yeah.
Yeah.
Classico. I've seen one recently, and I was like, that looks so weird.
I don't remember this being current. I mean, this was probably like 2011, but there was like in some either South Africa or somewhere in South America, you could buy a Mark II Golf with like a modern-ish interior.
Mark II, no, that's pretty crazy. I mean, it's not surprising considering they made the Beetle, the classic Beetle, up until like whenever it was 2000 and. What was it? I don't even know. Like I feel it was almost 2010. I think
it was like 97.
No, was it? I don't know because there was that article about that lady she'd driven like almost 500,000 or 400,000 miles on her, like she bought this car like new, and they sent it back to the plant where they had been making modern classic Beetles, and they were the ones that restored it. But I feel like it was like it's still somehow in existence, or the experts are still around, but that would be cool to like buy a brand new classic car.
Yeah.
Porsche did that with the 993.
Yeah.
It somehow made it like markedly worse.
And $2.7 million.
And $2.7 million, yeah. That is something. Hey, did you hear that they're going to have a 718 Boxster and Cayman T? Since you love the T nameplate so much, you hate it.
I heard that, yeah.
Yeah. I think that's a neat idea. I
hope
really? It has lightweight glass too.
I hope it's a lightweight stop-start button for the engine.
Probably will be. Yeah, for the record, Kevin hates the idea of the T.
I don't hate the idea of it.
You hate it. I love the idea of the T. It's more of a in spirit thing, but
it's fine.
It's fine.
Okay. My thoughts briefly.
Yes.
This was something we were gonna maybe talk about. I shot the Carrera T, and I drove it pretty extensively.
Yes.
And talking to our friend of the show, non-listener Chris Perkins.
Hi, Chris.
And he made some good points.
Yes.
Basically, it's like the people within Porsche that made the 911R.
Yep.
Were like, we should do something, like let's throw a bone to like the people, like let's make a special base car.
Yeah.
And I think that's cool. I do like that it's not just a car for the super rich. It's like we're making a special car that's not $250,000. It's like it is, 90 or whatever.
Right. And even though it's not like the true successor to like the RS America, and that the RS America was the cheapest of the lineup because they decontented it. In a way, though, you are saving money because the package you get is cheaper than if you spec'd out a Carrera with those same a Carrera S with those same bits and bobbles.
You wouldn't spec a Carrera S because this is just
just a Carrera. Okay, just a Carrera.
But this has the like rear wheel steering, which I think you can't get on the Carrera.
Yeah.
And it has, you couldn't spec it exactly the same.
So it's a deal.
It's fine. I mean, my gripe with it before was that like it wasn't either a drastic enough weight loss or a drastic enough performance increase or anything. but for them to hit the price that they are hitting, that they want, they're aiming for it to be a enticing base car that's special, they couldn't. There was nothing radical they could do regarding performance or weight. So I get that their kind of hands are tied. And then Chris Perkins said it better. Like he's like, it's in the end, it's like a slightly more special base car, but anyone that sees this like Carrera T knows like, hey, they went for the like slightly special one. Like that's someone who gets it. They care. They got the special one, and it's like, and it's also cool that it's like a final year thing. Like it's only going to be the last year. But I would still rather have a 991.1 with a naturally aspirated engine, and it is still lighter.
Yeah,
you can have an S that is still lighter than this car.
Yeah.
So that's where I would go.
Gotta keep looking forward, Kevin.
I think it's fine. It's not my favorite, but I have not read anything about the 718s, but not for me.
Yeah. I don't know that anyone's tested one yet.
No, it was just announced like yesterday. Yeah. So I mean, as far as like what makes it different, the specs, whatever, I don't know what makes a.
I actually don't. I did not read further into it, but I assume that it's going to be
way to research.
Fine. I assume that it's going to be. I'm thinking a similar packaging exercise.
I think it'll be like GTSE options on a base one.
What if on the Boxster they brought back the plastic rear window?
Ooh, that would be
lightweightness.
I like it.
And then you still have to like karate chop it before it goes into the tunnel.
I don't know if I've mentioned this, but I've not mentioned it on the podcast. But the F430 Ferrari, the car that was made until 2009.
Yep.
On the Spider, it had a plastic rear window.
Oh.
And the reason was because they said it was about saving weight up that high on the car. Which is insane.
I feel like someone's hat, their choice of hat would affect that just as much. But
they're
sure,
like,
why not?
No. We don't want to have glass that high up.
Why not? That is very funny.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so they changed it up for glass after?
What?
Did they change it? Oh.
It changed to the 458 changed to like the folding hardtop situation. But I mean, on those cars, it's so it's so small that it's not bad.
Speaking of hardtops,
yes.
I saw an email, like it was, I forget where I saw it. It was an email notification or a tweet, but there was like a one-off Rolls-Royce Carmug. Is that? You know what I'm talking about, though.
Yeah.
The one that has kind of Steve Buscemi eyes a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a one-off folding hardtop version.
Whoa.
I know. And here's the thing.
It's for sale here?
It's for sale. It's going up for auction.
Oh.
I don't know if it's here, but it's going up for auction. And surprisingly enough, for having been made like decades ago, the cut lines are really good, and that BMW, the last two generations of 3 Series, they have not been able to make that an attractive car.
No.
It is astonishing that someone figured that out long ago.
Yeah. SC430. They got it right.
Yeah,
they got it right.
There you go.
They got it right.
Is the Carmug coming back into popularity? I feel like that was a very unpopular. I never heard about it until maybe a couple of years ago.
What year was that?
Late 70s, early 80s, something like that. But it looks like such a big, a Lincoln Mark 8, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just it's very unelegant, but it's kind of coming into in our year of Radwood, the Radwood years.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's coming back now. It's not even an ironic interest. It is now part of the conversation. So
it sure is.
Yeah.
Speaking of the conversation, very. I can't stop thinking about.
Yes.
I can't stop thinking about something that happened when we were in LA.
Oh no.
Did we talk about the fire already on here?
I think we did.
Okay, so not that. About when our friend Chris Perkins told our friend Bradley Brownell about his Mustang take. Bradley Brownell, potential listener, friend of the show.
Hi, Brad.
He So Chris Perkins tells him, "I have a bad Mustang take," and Bradley perks up and he's like, "Oh, okay, go on." And we all listen. And Chris says, "I think that the new Edge Mustang is better than the is it SN95? The SN195? I don't know.
No, 95, I think.
The 2005 to 2010, 2005 2009.
The hottest of takes.
He says, "I think the new Edge is better than that." And Bradley sits with that thought for a minute, in like someone tasting wine and lets the swashes it in their mouth. He says, yeah, I'll subscribe to that. Yeah, that's agreeable."
And then Chris,
it was
Chris immediately regretted his opinion.
It was infuriating to watch this because it was the worst take being agreed to.
Oh my god!
Purely because Bradley's a provocateur of bad takes.
He has strong opinions that are not often of the mainstream.
That Mustang is bad.
It is it is an interesting choice of design, configurations, elements, lines, all the things that make up designs. But I guess someone's gotta like it, and now it has 2 fans.
That it does.
Oh yeah, that was really funny. I liked seeing you, like, your head like inflate and then explode into confetti. That was fun to watch. Was that at where was that? Oh, was that at Redwood?
We were at Matt's party.
Oh,
we were making tacos.
Yeah. Okay.
We were making tacos. I remember exactly right where I was at that moment.
Oh my god.
I don't think we talked about that on the last episode, but we
Farah's
went to
birthday party.
Matt Farah's birthday party.
Yeah. That was fun. He's such a nice guy.
Totally.
And he had like a guy making tacos. And
yeah.
They were delicious tacos.
They were really good.
Yeah. And
right on the porch there.
Yeah. We met some interesting folk there as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I was trying to think, like, it was in Venice, and we, of course, like, once again had, like...
Chris said there were interesting folk there in, like, the most judgmental way
No,
possible.
I meant that, like, for real. Like, we met the fellow who works for Bring a Trailer. I think I don't recall what he did. He does, like, PR or something along those lines for them. And then we met just random people.
Yeah.
DWA folks were there. Chatted with them for a little bit. I had to go pee so bad. Like, we walked in, and Art was, I think, one of the first people we saw. We were chatting, and then I, like, paused and I said, like, this is a really interesting story, and I have one sideline question. Do you know where the restroom is? And I just had to use the restroom so badly.
I think we both did.
Yeah, we did. Because once again, like, in Los Angeles, we ended up having, like, multiple cars to park in, like, super, like, dense areas. This was in Venice.
I feel like we had also had, like, a drink before we got there.
Maybe. Yeah. Wait.
No,
where did we go? I don't know. Well, we got.
Was that when we were? That was when we went to the like the picnic coffee place.
Oh yeah, we had a lot of coffee that day.
Yeah, so that was all we had.
Yep. Yeah. And anyways, yeah, we were both in I was cartoon.
Because it took us like 20 minutes to park.
Yeah.
Which was fine.
Yeah. And like, it was a long walk from where we. Also, it was a long walk, and so I just kept, like, doing the pee walk where you just, like, I don't know why walking, like, helps to reduce the urge, but, like, it does. Maybe it's psychosomatic, I don't know, but
yeah,
it reduced the urge until we got inside and we stood for a second, and then it all came flooding back. Yeah. LA. I like LA.
Yeah.
LA's nice. I know people hate LA, but hate on LA. I like LA because I don't live there. And that it would be the other way around if I did. But the weather, it's so nice. And the car culture there is fantastic.
Yeah. The roads.
The roads are good.
Yes.
people are attractive there.
Mm-hmm.
It's my biggest complaint
Yeah.
about here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Look at what I'm looking at right now. Yeah. So, we are skipping out on periodicals this week, as I guess we both have forgotten, and so we will do that the next episode.
Yes.
But we're coming up on an hour here, so I think we might have a podcast.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. Thank you for listening, and Kevin, carry us out.
If you have something to send us, send it to newfor96@gmail.com. Or check us out on Instagram at newfor96.
Indeed.
Yes.
All right. Thanks for listening.
Bye.
Goodbye.